friends, this is Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. Today we're just going to jump right on into this video because it's just fun. We're going to make caramel apples, and then you can just decorate them to your heart's content and make them just really gourmet or just simple. It's yours. You do what you want. The thing about this video that I'm really kind of excited about, because the very first thing you have to do before you start your caramel or anything is to wash the apples. All apples, if you didn't know, and I'm sure you did, they come with a wax coating on it. If you don't wash that off, the caramel won't stick to this. The thing is, and I've watched a lot of videos on this looking for someone to tell you that once you take off that wax coating, it's going to brown. They don't say that. So when you're doing yours and they brown, no one's telling you it's okay, it's supposed to be like that. So don't worry about it. I'm telling you, it's okay, it's supposed to be like that. So what I've done sometimes, I had a caramel apple making class the other day. Oh my God, it was so fun. It was long, but it was so much fun. And some of the apples I did, I wanted some of the green to show, so I did not take that wax part off. So I would submerge it into the water to about there, leave it in for, I don't know, let's say 15 seconds, and then immediately wipe it off. I'm going to show that to you. The other thing I'm going to tell you that is, if you do submerge the whole thing because you want to dip the whole thing, because I did that in several too, you want to really make sure, well, you want to take this part off, the stem, and you really want to make sure that the inside is dry, because the last thing you want is bacteria to form because the water got in there. So what I'm going to do for this particular one is I'm going to put the skewers in before, because I'm not going to soak them all the way. Got it? Watch. I'll show you. Okay, so I've got my water. I had it to just about ready to boil, and then I turned it off. I don't want it to boil. I don't want it to cook these apples. I just want it to melt the wax that's on here. So when I put these in, I use the palm of my hands. It's a little tricky. I mean, it's like, oh, it's a kid-friendly, dessert. Well, yes and no. I'm sorry, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't. I've done it with kids, and I guess I'm a bit of a brat where I want it to end up right. I don't have the patience, I guess, that I used to, which is really funny because I used to. Anyway, so I'm pushing it in, and I'm just going to twist it. You can hear where it goes in. Okay, so I'm going to do this to the rest of them. Okay, submerge the apple in the hot water. Take it to whatever level you want. I don't want it all the way up, so I'm just going to keep it, twisting it until the wax melts. Wipe it off really, really well and use a little pressure to make sure you get the wax off. Continue until the rest are done and put them aside. Okay, so in a heavy bottom pot, I've got all the ingredients except for the vanilla. I've got sugar, butter. What do I have? I have sugar, butter, syrup, Karo syrup. Well, not Karo, but just light syrup. And the cream. Now, the cream is really an important part of caramel making. That's what's going to give you that creaminess. What type of cream? It's not as particular. When I make my Christmas caramels, I use heavy cream, whipping cream. And some people are very particular about adding things in a certain order. I don't. I've done them, and I don't see a difference. So I'm just going to go ahead and put everything together. And you know me, I don't like just throwing things in a pot and going for it. So I'm using condensed milk in this recipe only because for the apples, I want a firmer caramel. So everything gets mixed. It's going to be boiling on high. That's the candy making process. And I like to use a spatula because it's going to give me clean edges, and I can scrape the bottom really well. I'm pushing down, so it's going to fold the spatula The thing you don't want to use for candy making is a metal spoon. It retains the heat, and it just doesn't work out as well. The thing that you will need though is a candy thermometer, and these to me are my favorite. They work the best because you have that little foot on the bottom, so it's never going to actually touch. It's never going to actually touch the bottom of the pan. So away it goes. It just keeps mixing and mixing. It's going to get thicker, it's going to get darker, it's going to get perfect, but it's going to take its time. So once you have everything melted and good, you are going to lower the heat. It's not going to stay on high for the whole thing. That will burn it. So just constantly stirring and watching. Once it starts to bubble a lot, then I'll put the candy thermometer in. For me, it just doesn't make sense to put it in before because I know it's not nearly ready. Okay, now I'm still not putting in my candy thermometer because I know how much time I have, and when it's in, it's gonna block me from stirring it as well. But can you see it getting darker? Definitely see it getting thicker. And if you wanted like a caramel sauce, this is where you would stop. So when it gets closer, I want it to get to about 2:45, not quite 45, but it's not there yet. So I'll put the candy thermometer in a minute and then we'll watch it grow. Okay, it's in. It's already at 180. Almost 200. And I want it at a soft ball, so it's about, I don't want it to get to 250. It's almost there. The last part, the funniest thing, the last part is it takes the longest. Just so you know. All right, let me finish up. Okay, this is ready. This is beautiful. The last thing I'm gonna do, I've taken it off the heat and I'm gonna add a little vanilla. That's no big deal. Once I start stirring it, it's gonna really shout. Okay, was that a trip or what? That was a trip. I have never, ever had that happen. All right, so this is done. You just press on, just press on. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the apples. You see how they kind of turned brown? I'm gonna dip it in, and I'm not gonna put it in all the way. But I definitely want a good coat on it. And they always make it seem like it's just so effortless. So this part here is a little tricky because you have to let it drip a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to get a great big old plate on the bottom of your apple. It's not what I want. So I'm going to scrape it a little bit and then let it sit. Okay? It's still going to give me a little plate on the bottom, but what are you going to do, right? Okay, so I'm a complete dope. I got these all nice and done, and I didn't hit record. So I'm going to re-dip this one, primarily because I could see more green than I want to, and then also because I want a lot of caramel. So if you can see this, I'm going to tilt it, spin it. This baby is going to be loaded. All right, it's a delicious caramel, so it's okay. I'm just gonna let it hang. and kind of just gently flatten out the bottom, especially because I have so much caramel on it. It's really going to give me a big foot. All right, that's amazing. I have a lot more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a parchment lined tray and cool it and cut it up. All right, this was definitely enough for a lot more apples. And I used the big apples, the Granny Smith, because I really like the look. It's just in awe. So let me see. I'm just going to spread this out a little bit. Now, you could do this same exact caramel apple with the caramels, the craft caramels. There's absolutely no reason if you don't want to make it by scratch, by all means, make it with the craft caramels. Now, this I can take, cut up later, and slowly melt it and reuse it, just so you know. Okay, so the topping off part and the decorating part, that can go in so many layers. I am going to dip some of these in chocolate. I'm going to put just, one of them I'm definitely going to have with just the peanuts. Now, before you do the next step, especially for chocolate, if you're going to start dipping it in chocolate, this has to be completely cool to the touch. Completely cool. Otherwise, the chocolate's going to melt. These are still hot. But if you're going to dip something directly right onto here, they just have to sit for a little bit. Okay, that's still a little... When it comes off easy, it's ready to go. It's just easier than trying to dip it into the caramel and then dip it into your toppings. It's not done being gooey yet. Let it be done being gooey, then you can top it up. You guys, one of the reasons I like doing my videos with you is because you know I'm not out to try to impress anybody, and you know that sometimes I have fails, and sometimes I show you how to work around the fails. This isn't a fail, but there's a process between the time the videos on social media dips to eat. There's a lot that goes on that they don't show you. That drives me nuts. So this is one of them. So I got rid of the extra caramel around the plate, and it's still soft enough where I can still make it pretty. You see? Oh, this is really beautiful caramel. All right, and I'm just giving it. All right. Ta-da! Once he's cold, we'll dip him in chocolate. Okay, so I've melted my chocolate just in the microwave to get it, creamy. The toppings, you guys, that's just on however you like it. I dipped one in the chocolate. I wanted the caramel, a little caramel to show, but mostly I want the grain to show. I've got chopped up or ground up graham crackers, and I've got pistachio dust, which is just a really, really fine chopped pistachio. So they're going to coat really well. All right. So you just like with the caramels, you're going to take it in. And this gets really firm, so it's got a really good snap to it. All right. And then again, just let it drip. And if you're going to cover it, you're not going to need to be too precise because you're going to cover it. But you definitely want the bottom to be flat. So for this, I'll put the graham crackers. Yum! And I'll finish up the other two. I think I'm going to dip one with chocolate and put the peanuts on it because I think it would look yummy. if you guys can see what I'm doing here. Not that it's, you know, rocket science or anything, but it's kind of fun. Hello, it's chocolate. All right, I misplaced my nuts. Well, that didn't sound right. All right. That looks pretty. All right, and then the next one I'll just put with the pistachios. Okay, so I took some of the caramel that I had saved aside and I put it in a bowl. I'm going to melt it and I'm going to put it in a pastry bag and drizzle it on there. It's very hot. I mean, very hot. I'm not going to be able to pour it. I'm not going to be able to squeeze it with my bare hands. So I'm going to use a baking, what do you call those? Oven mitts. All right, this way I can actually squeeze it. Man, that's hot. Sorry about that, I just needed it to. All right, let it do what it needs to do, man. Be tricky. Tricky, 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 tricky. I think I'll stick with that design. I kind of like that better. But none of them are bad. Can I just tell you, it's caramel on top of caramel. Don't worry about this. This is going to come off so easy. God, Maria, what a mess you're making. I know. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the melted chocolate that I used in there. It's going to be tricky to do it on this side of the camera, so just trust that I'm going to pour this in there. Telling you, it hides many flaws. Okay, I melted some white chocolate. I'm going to do the same thing and crisscross and cover and just add. And don't worry about the mess on the pan. It's supposed to get messy. You're working. Okay, what say you? Aren't they pretty? They're really yummy. I mean, everyone, we're all kids at heart, right? We all love this whole caramel apple, candy apple kind of thing. It's just part of, life. One of my favorite treasures, at least. Okay, guys, I have to know, did I help you or did I mess you up? There was a lot going on and I felt unorganized, which doesn't do me good. It's going to take me an hour just to depress. Depress, whatever, calm down. These I'm going to wrap up, put a little bow on them, and I'll give these away to people who have helped me through the week or the month or whatever. That's it, guys. I hope that you pulled something from this. I feel like I made it worse. Please let me know. Let me know, really, because if I'm starting to go downhill like that, then We may have to change plans. All right, my friends. Until next time, happy baking.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.